Samburu County. Well, the next opportunity, honorable members, goes to the Honorable Kawanjiku, member for Kiambaa.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this amendment, the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2023. And I rise to support this amendment, Madam Speaker, especially when we are amending the independence of the commissions. That is the Parliamentary Service Commission and the Judicial Service Commission, Madam Speaker. You know, it is clear that our Constitution has given the mandate of these two independent institutions to be making some decisions in regards to the people that they govern and they manage, Madam Speaker. And I therefore support it, the Judicial Service Commission. It is an area that we should not even interfere with, because at the end of the day, the judiciary is the one that knows how it handles its issues, its matters, especially on issues to do with the employment, or especially on the issues to do with the benefits of its members, and maybe probably work around within the judiciary so that at least they can be able to make sure that they offer comfortability, because they are the only people who understand whatever happens within the judiciary, Madam Speaker. But the moment we allow someone from an outside to come to judicial and determine and decide on how probably the Judicial Service Commission is supposed to run the affairs of the judiciary, then, Madam Speaker, I feel from where I stand that probably will be jeopardizing the independence of the judiciary, Madam Speaker. Even on the Parliamentary Service Commission, they are doing an amazing work. Some of the issues that are affecting members and their staff, it can only be understood by them, Madam Speaker. And therefore, it is prudent for us to make sure we amend this act and to make sure that we give them that autonomy to make some decisions as far as the Parliamentary Service Commission and the Judicial Service Commission, Madam Speaker. It is also very discriminatory when you hear that on the issues of the adoption, Madam Speaker, that we are discriminating, especially whereby we are removing on the amendment of the Children Act, and where we are removing that provision, Madam Speaker, where it was prohibiting a male applicant from adopting or from retaining the custody of a child, Madam Speaker. It is discriminatory, it is unconstitutional, and I therefore support this, because sometimes you may realize that the person who have the benefit or have the interest of the children or the interest of that child is the male parent, Madam Speaker. And the moment you start discriminating that male child cannot be able to take care of that child, then it is on its way, it is on its own, Madam Speaker, very discriminatory. And maybe probably the man has the ability and the capacity to take care of that child. So I support that amendment. Let us remove that discriminatory amendment, Madam Speaker, and give and allow the court sometimes to make that decision in regards to who hold the interest of that child, Madam Speaker. Also on the issue of scrap metal, you know, it is an area that we really need to look into. A lot of vandalism is happening within the Republic. You realize, like I have a constituency in Kiambaa, we have done a lot of Murikamwizi, those street rights. And you realize that the people who vandalize, these are taxpayers' money. These are government resources that has been put in that area. But there is a lot of vandalism that is happening within the constituency. And I want to call upon the police, I want to call upon the law enforcers, I want to call upon the citizen. Because these street rights and whatever is being vandalized, they are selling to scrap metals. And these are the resources spent by the national government to make sure that probably we right those areas, to make sure that we have put walls that will benefit the locals and the majority who are supposed to benefit from the investments that has been done by the government, Madam Speaker. But you realize this vandalism is on another level. They are vandalizing even the transformers, an area whereby the government has really invested a lot of money to make sure there is electricity, to make sure that we can be able to empower the hustlers by making sure that, you know, we promote 24 hours business economy, especially on areas whereby we are hosting many people who work within Nairobi, Madam Speaker. There must be a very punitive law to make sure that those people who are dealing with scrap metals, if you are caught by the law enforcers dealing with scrap metals that has been the scrap metals probably that you are vandalizing transformers, you are vandalizing roads, on encouraging this kind of business that is transacting within our community, Madam Speaker, has been dealt with. We have issues of transformers being stolen within Kiambu County. And you realize that the person who has been buying these scrap metals and who have been vandalizing transformers, he's doing this business only to sell those metals, Madam Speaker. There must be punitive law to make sure that we protect the public interest whenever it comes to such kind of businesses. We cannot allow to be investing a lot of money on those issues, and then one person is taking away all that investment, whereby we are promoting businesses, whereby we are making sure that manufacturers have electricity, that homes are connected to electricity. But in an area, when they vandalize a transformer, it is taking us 2 or 3 months before we replace that transformer. And therefore, our people suffer as a result of that vandalism. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I'm supporting this. Let us deal with making sure that we amend the law and make sure that probably the people who are going to be licensed, there must be clear guidelines on what kind of scrap metals are they going to be selling. And if it is possible, we do away with all the scrap metals within the Republic, Madam Speaker, because the amount of money we're investing is a lot, and then we allow few individuals to destroy those kind of investment. Madam Speaker, I support that amendment. The amendment of the National Employment Authority, it is another big thing, Madam Speaker. And I support what other members have been saying, especially on areas to do with promoting our young people to get employment. On areas whereby we have so many young people who have not been able to go to university, but they have manual courses or courses that probably they have done within the TVETs or within the polytechnics or within an area probably that they have not been, even they have been able to gain that experience, Madam Speaker, from the local arrangement, whereby we employ casual laborers, but with time these people are able to gain experience and maybe probably become good machinery, carpenters, Madam Speaker, tailors. Those are the people that the national employment should be considering as a country. And we support this amendment and allow the national authority, National Management Employment Authority, to make sure that they standardize on how they are going to get employment for our people. Even if they're going to get this, and we have heard the president saying in a couple of few months, Madam Speaker, and we know that even in the next maybe few months, we'll be going to sign some bilateral agreements, especially when it comes to labor migration, Madam Speaker. We support labor export. We are supporting national employment, and they must arise to the occasion, Madam Speaker, and support as many people as possible and follow up with other countries that really are willing to import the labor from our country, Madam Speaker. We have countries that has really benefited with this labor export. We have a country like Philippines, Madam Speaker, that they are doing very well. Their main foreign exchange earner, Madam Speaker, comes from the labor export. And therefore, even as a country, because we have very hardworking young people, we have so many young people who don't have jobs, but they are so hardworking within the Republic, we must look for a way to promote them, to support them, and to make it possible, Madam Speaker, that we can be able to export labor as a country. We call upon the CS for labor, especially on these issues, the bilateral agreement that have happened. We have seen them advertising on the issues to do with the nursing. They're exporting labor to UK, they're exporting labor to Saudi Arabia, and now we have seen that there is proper agreement, because we don't want to experience a situation whereby our people go to those countries and they are mistreated, Madam Speaker. So therefore, amending this law to make sure that there is that follow-up, to make sure that the people who import labor to our country and the people who export labor within the Republic of Kenya are well licensed, are well known, and even as they take this initiative to transfer and to export labor to other countries, Madam Speaker, they take responsibility of the people we export to other countries. So it is an area that can really help us and benefit us as a country. We really need to put a lot of input, and therefore I support this amendment, miscellaneous amendment bill, Madam Speaker, to make sure at the end of the day we empower National Employment Authority so that we can export as much labor as possible, because within our area, Madam Speaker, and within the Republic, we have a shortage of jobs within the Republic, and we must think outside the box and make sure we create employment for our people. I support, Madam Speaker. Thank you.